Okay, season 2 of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, which the short name is Damanji, is actually a solid season. I enjoyed this season, like the character development. You get a little bit more about characters and the background of everything in this series, or in this season, I should say. And on top of it, you get more guys in the season. You get the leaders of their families, and you get to see more interaction with it. And you know what? I was purely impressed with this season. I'm excited to get into it on this episode of Movie Breakdowns Series Review. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdown Series Review. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And what is Movie Breakdown Series Review? Well, it's a movie review series where we look at a series of a TV show, series of a movie, and we give them a grade A through L, plus and minus a due count. We take each individual movie or take each individual season, grade them, and then at the end of all, grade the giant conclusion of the series. And if there's a series or TV show you want me to watch, please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. I also have a Patreon/Ali Zakka, and on this Patreon you can cut in front of everybody. You're paying for my services. So if you ever do a review, I get to it immediately and get up as soon as possible. Also, I have on Patreon, you can get trailer reactions, trailer reviews, and much more content. And thank you guys so much for the support and love. I appreciate it. Now let's go ahead and get into today's review of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon, Season 2. Starter, I definitely want to say, one, this is a spoiler review. And then, now two, or after that, is that the season opener is actually pretty dang good. I enjoyed the season opener. It got me. I love it. I love the season opener. The first season opener is kind of like not good, and this one's like, yes. One of my favorite things about watching an anime is the season opener. To see the opening episode, or the opening soundtrack, or the opening credits, to see what it's like. And this one actually is like one of my favorite ones I've heard in a long time. One Piece, I got a bunch of good ones towards the end. Naruto got a few good ones. Bleach got some good ones. And My Hero Academia too. But this one for Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Great. I love it. And what's the season about? Well, the season is pretty much more about Belle and the Hestia familiar becoming more and getting bigger, but also they're dealing with more issues from the gods now. You got Apollo stepping in the ring, you got Ishtar stepping into the ring. So it's not just Belle handling other adventurers and trying to level up. He now has to deal with the onslaught of the gods. And now the fact that he actually got some attention, he's now a level 3 by the end of the season. More guys are looking at him. They want to bring him into their familiar to make their familiar stronger, or they want them to do what they want with them. Okay, they just want to have another human toy. That's a weird thing to say. But yeah, that's 1% what's going on. And this season actually is a season of 2 halves. And I think the one thing that hurts this season so much is the length of it. It is too short. Way too short. Only 12 episodes. Only 12 episodes, because there's 13 total. One episode's a recap of what happened in season 1, and the other episodes are just part of season 2. And it really does hurt this series, not having longer episodes. Give it 26 episodes instead of just 13 episodes, or give it 24 episodes instead of 12 episodes, because you need stuff to settle in and breathe. And what I mean by that, like for example, opening first half of season 2, you have Belle who gets in fight with the Apollo family. And Apollo now wants Belle to be a part of his familia. So he is doing whatever he can to make Belle and Hestia's life a living hell. And they are now forced to compete in what's called a war game. I just think of NXT War Games, or WCW's War Games. But they're forced to compete in a War Games competition against the Apollo familia, which is a giant familia, and Hestia only has 2 people. But she gets more when Lily and Wealth and another character who, matter of fact, pull her name up real quick, because she's at the end of season 1 and really joins them in season 2 here. Mikoto. Mikoto joins in from another familiar, and they pretty much take on the Apollo familiar. Also with the help of, what's her name? It's not Ice. Ryu. With the help of Ryu as well, they take on the Apollo familiar. But how do we get there? Well, Apollo decides to attack the Hestia familiar and pretty much destroys a little rinky-dink home that Hestia and Belle was in. And you're like, okay, how do we get through this? But that's in the span of 2 episodes. Like, they get attacked. The second episode, they like, we're gonna do the war games. Okay, we're jumping into it. But then within that episode, Lily has to go back to her former familiar to pretty much kind of settle issues with them. I'm not gonna show you how she does it, but this calls Hestia, Wells, Mikoto. Mikoto? Did I pronounce her name right? No, Mikoto. Mikoto and a few other of their friends to go try to save Lily Ruka. But the problem with that is that it only lasts 1 episode. You have Lily in a cell, but then that same episode, within seconds, she gets the keys because somebody just gave it to her, and now she's out roaming free. And I think that this series had maybe, each plot had like maybe 2 episodes to them. It could make it stronger. You have more time to let things breathe versus running right into it. Like, to be honest, I thought Lily arc was done at the end of season 1. To finally get another arc with her per se, or a moment for her in this season, was like, whoa, that came out of left field. And then it happens like that, and you're like, completely forgotten about. And then on top of that, the War Games episode, where it's like 1 whole episode and that's it, and you don't really feel the weight of struggle for Belle and the rest of the Hestia familia. It's like they get into it, they take out the issues, done. And you're like, I just wish that breathed a little more. It's kind of cool seeing all of the guys and seeing them like what everybody's familiar is, and the leader of the familia. It's cool to see that, but like, we wish we got a little more breathing room for that first half of the season. I get it's on 12 episodes. And then I think episode 6 or 7, you get a kind of like a day in the life episode, which I love actually. I love seeing what characters do when they're not in the midst of battles, or what they're doing off on their own. They're not just, okay, we're here for the fight, you're here, and that's it. Like, I want to see them have a day to relax, have a day to kind of like, all right, you know what? We have a day to relax and have fun, let's do this. And this episode, which does have a lot of fan service in it, but you don't really get mad at that because it's all legit. Mikoto gets a hot spring, like she get a hot spring bath, or not really a hot spring bath, like get a nice bath. She's like, I need to jump into this now, this is so great. She jumps into it, and everything's covered up so you don't really see anything, but it's like she's in there and she's like, oh my gosh, this feels great, amazing. But then you also get to see Bill and Wealth also like, hey, let's go join the bath too. They get into another room and they just talk about like their feelings, they talk about like what they're here for and what their ideals are and goals, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool episode that I appreciate, because in a lot of series I watch, you always get like the moment of a huge arc is finished and they go right into another arc, versus they got done and here they are, you know, just enjoying the day. There's no big pressure to go into the next journey. It's done. Like, they're just relaxing. I think that's pretty neat and pretty well done and properly placed into a series that, yeah, there's a lot of action for the most part. And then the second half of the series, or the second half of the season, you get another character which brings an Ishtar, and I didn't expect this from the opening credits, is that they go to the red light district in their town, in their little city. They go to the red light district to try to save Mikoto's friend, her old childhood friend. And by them trying to do that, they get entangled with the Ishtar familia, and they have to pretty much fight her, which is a bunch of Amazons. It's a pretty cool concept that you don't really get to see. And Belle meets a character who, she just wants a hero. She wants to get saved. She don't want to be in the red light district anymore. She don't want to be used as a prostitute. Like, actually what they say in the anime, they call her a prostitute. She doesn't want to be that anymore. She wants to be free and doesn't want to be held by the Ishtar familia, who are using her to try to gain power. So the character I'm talking about here is Haruhime? So Haruhime is like a fox mixed hybrid human, and she has the really powerful magic abilities. Well, they're planning on killing her and putting her powers into the stone, and they can use the stone to make anybody super powerful, kind of like a super soldier serum, and conquer the rest of the familiars in the town. And Belle finds out, try to save her. It's a pretty cool resolution, pretty cool end of an arc. And I thought it was nice. I thought that whole section was done well, and I think it was properly dragged out. I think that those 6 episodes or 7 episodes for that arc was necessary, and I may could be wrong, probably not even 6, probably like 5 episodes, but anyway, I think it's done super well for that and for that character and see the growth and development. But you get a lot of growth and development for Haruhime, but also you don't get other ones like Aisha and Ishtar. You don't get more of that growth because it's shortened. That's the one problem. So you get the one character who like has a big growth, and you say, like, okay, you see her backstory, you see how she got there. You want to see like she gets rescued. But then the other ones who have complex backgrounds too, they don't really get to dive into because once again, it's a short season. 12 episodes not enough. And then the last 2 episodes of this season is a whole nother arc with Ares in this town, and which is building up to season 3. But it's just like, we need at least 5 episodes. Let that stuff drag out a little bit. Let Ares try to conquer the town, and he can't do it because he's incompetent, so he can't do it. And let, you know, Hestia get captured by Ares. Let that drag out a little more, and let, you know, Belle and Hestia have their moments where they're getting to know each other more and getting to bond each other more. Let those moments be stronger. I just felt like 12 episodes doesn't really do this season justice. And let's go ahead and get into characters while I'm talking about justice. Let's get into characters here. So Belle is solid. Like, he's still growing. Like, he's getting growth from the other season and still continue on in this season. The only problem with Belle is that he's super naive still. He's still naive. He's still like, no, not me. I can't be that. Nobody can really appreciate me like that. Nobody can look into me like that. And you find out that like he lost everything at one point, but you don't really get a deep dive on it. So Belle is kind of naive to, I guess, letting people get close to him. He's okay with being friends, but like as far as like relationships, he's like, I don't really want that with anybody. There's one person I really have my eye on, but like, Hessie, I'm sorry, we can't be together. We're 2 different types of beings. You're a guy, I'm a human. And there's actually a pretty cool talking point about that, where they're like, where he gets talked to 2 guys and they're like, what does that matter? Like, it's okay. And just kind of like not being racist. I don't know. It's like, don't be racist kind of thing. Like, don't be just so caught up in your own little world. You know, love to be more than just, you know, I guess in this is humans to humans. It could be guys to humans. It could be humans to, this world has a lot of people in it. So I guess like elves, humans to trolls, and so on and so on. But Belle character, he does get stronger. He does overcome issues. He does like kind of step up at one point and kind of have a conflicting, like especially in the Ishtar familiars, in the Red District arc, he like has a moment where he's like, just because she's a prostitute doesn't make her a bad person. And he has that moment. He has to like say like, she needs saving too. She doesn't want to be in this position. She doesn't want this job. She doesn't want to live like that. She wants something more, and she wished for something more. I'm going to rescue her. And he has that conflict on like, can a hero rescue a prostitute? And there's a moment in the anime that talks about that, what I thought was kind of neat. It's a fleeting moment, but it's a neat moment. And then, well, as far as him and Apollo arc and the War Games arc, it's just him training a little more, but you don't really get to see the training. And I think you know Belle's gonna overcome it, so you never feel like Belle's in trouble. And I felt like if you got a little more training between him and Eyes in the first half of the season, the War Games arc would be more have more weight and gravitas to it. Lily, she's actually not a fox person I thought she was. She's just a person who can shapeshift into like different types of people and different types of species. She's like a normal small human, but she can transform into different stuff. I didn't know that. I noticed that this season, like, where's her ears at? And they had to look up on her and see, like, oh, that's why. But besides the first, that like episode 4 or 3, where she has her moment of like, I'm breaking away, I'm finally doing the Hestia Familia, she's more there. Wealth is more there. They have a little more talking points, kind of more things where they are giving Belle a little more backstory, kind of being Belle's like word of advice, but more than anything, they're just kind of there in the background. Mikoto, this is her season. When she joins the group and the second half of the Red Light District, this is her season. Her and Belle kind of teaming up to try to be a difference maker. So you get to learn more about her, and she is a unique character. I like her. The Haruhime, she's a damsel in distress character, and she ended up joining the Familia at the end, but she's fine. Eyes is around. Eyes is not really there in the second half of the season until the last 2 episodes, and she's there at the beginning of the season, and you get to see that she's just a warrior. She doesn't really do banquets. Like, there's a moment where her and Belle dance, and she's like, nobody ever asked her to dance before, which she's like one of the hottest and one of the most strongest warriors in the land. So it's weird that nobody really hits her, or they do, she just turns them down, and Belle is kind of like the first one to really ask her on a dance, which he was kind of nervous about. And I do like he still has that nervous mentality a lot when he comes around her. Like, he's not finally like has confidence in his stuff yet. You know, he's constantly leveling up. And then there's Hestia. Hestia annoys me still. She still annoys me. I feel like she's not really much of a difference maker in the series. Like, she doesn't really help Belle much. She's like his goddess, so he looks up to her, and she kind of like, take him in and everything, but she kind of causes him more problems than necessary. Heck, the last 2 episodes of the season, she is the reason why he gets in trouble. And I don't like the jealous character arc. I just don't like that. Like, she's a goddess. She should be more, I don't know, but I feel like she should be more like, not stronger is the word, more, she shouldn't be as jealous. She shouldn't be as jealous. She should have more confidence in herself. And every time Belle talks about another girl, or like Haruhime, who has a crush on Belle, she talks to Belle and she gets freaking, Hestia gets freaking jealous. Like, okay, we can't have, the same two different sexes talking to each other. It must be separate, male and female, no more. And I'm like, that is ridiculous. And then Lily's like, you know how ridiculous your point is? He's like, I mean, you can't talk to Belle either. You can't touch Belle either. You can't level him up. And she's like, well, we gotta end that now. Like, what kind of, gosh. Like, I do not like her character still. It still irks me. And she has not done anything redeeming to show me like, yeah, okay, you get your chop back. You earn your character. And maybe she is probably just the annoying character who is kind of there for partial fan service, but she's the damsel in distress character that Belle's like, I gotta save her. She's my goddess. And I appreciate Belle's like determination and loyalty to her, but as a character, I feel like she puts in more trouble than what it needs to be. That's my thoughts on Hestia. I know it's a raw take, but I just can't stand that character. Freya, she's still around. She actually helps Belle out versus Ishtar. She really wants to see Belle get stronger so she can include Belle in her familia. So she's just watching him and wait for the time to strike. Hermes is there to kind of like see what kind of test Belle can hold, and he's actually putting Belle in a situation to see what he can do. But those two guys are like, okay, we'll see what happens. Ishtar, she is the second half of the season villain. She is the one who you can't resist her. She is, no matter who it is, you fall into her spell. And she tried to seduce Belle, but realized can't do it. She was cool at one point. Like, she was just kind of there as the big bad. And Apollo was there as the big bad in the first half of season 1, where he's just like, I'm big, I'm bad, and I'm going to do what I want and make it almost next to none. And it's kind of cool to see Hestia and Belle outdo him. That's pretty much it for characters. I don't think there's anybody else I really want to talk about in this season. And I guess Aisha, I can talk about her, a part of the Ishtar Familia. She is pretty much there to be the antagonist to Belle in season 2, the second half. And You can see that she has like problems and doesn't agree with everything, and she has a little more of a heart, but she's doing it because the Ishtar familiar is super strong, and she still hangs around after Belle like beat Ishtar, or I guess Freya and Belle beat the Ishtar familiar. She still hangs around. I'm curious what she's gonna do in season 3, but I wish we got more backstory on her. Like we got like one scene where she kind of gives exposition dump to the characters on what she went through and stuff like that, but you don't really get more of a backstory on her and why, I guess, feel like you're connecting to her. And that's another problem with this just being a short season. The connection to characters, you just don't get that connection. And I really wish we did with a lot of these characters, like extended seasons, extended, to 20 episodes, 24 episodes, because you at least, I don't get the episode filler, at least you get time to breathe with characters and get to see like, okay, this is why we're developing a sense of attachment with them. One Piece does a good job with it. One Piece is super long. Every character you come across with, they have a solid backstory that you get attached to, and it's more than just one episode. It's like 2 or 3 episodes for that backstory to develop and finally grow. We don't need 3 episodes for, Damachi, but at least 2. That's all I gotta say. Okay, is this a season you should watch? Yeah, sure. Watch this season. Watch this series. It's a pretty solid series. And also I want to talk about the music of it. The music is solid. The background music, the emotional, upbeat music. Anytime music plays, you're listening, you're tuned in. I think it's great. The setting, the world building, I think it's great. The color, the design, the artwork, solid. And grading time. I'm going to grade Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Season 2, a B-. A B-. I'll change that. I'll make it a B. This is a B. A B season. Not a B-, a B season. And the reason why is because the storylines is solid. The main piece and the main gist of everything is solid. You can follow the first half of the season. You're following the second half of the season. You're right there along with the ride. You're curious how they're going to come out of it. The only problem is it's just not long enough. It's just not long enough for everything to really grow and develop, for it to really have gravitas and weight. But you can at least get attached to these characters and see what's happening, especially from season 1 and seeing in season 2. You're like, okay, but it just needs to be longer. So it's a B season, a solid B. If you guys seen Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, what do you think? Please put in the comment section below. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Other than that, see you in the next episode when we break down series review, and keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episode of movie breakdowns or grind towards success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of movie breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.